There's been reports over the past few weeks of a sort of growing gap between Holly and Phil. That's due to a number of things. I think, I don't know if you remember, during the funeral, there was a bit of tension over whether they jumped the queue or not. A couple of years ago, Holly left the talent agency that Philip part owned.
If you're listening to this, it means you haven't been watching the telly this morning, which is fine by me. Philip Schofield, of course, forced to quit this morning over the weekend after his co-presenter Holly Willoughby apparently gave ITV an ultimatum. In the meantime, Alison Hammond and Dermot O'Leary have stepped in, and this is what they had to say on this morning's show.
Now, we can't start today's show without paying tribute to the man who spent the last 2 decades sitting on this morning's sofa, Philip Schofield.
So, as a show, everyone on and off screen at ITV and this morning want to say a huge thank you to Phil for what he's done to make the show such a success over the last 21 years.
Quite simply, we all know he's one of the best live television broadcasters this country has ever had. And we and all the team wish him all the best for the future.
Yeah.
And that was that. Well, Alex Farber, the Times' media correspondent, has been watching it. How was it, Alex?
They're professionals, Alison and Dermot, and so I think they handled it with aplomb. I mean, it feels slightly staged and slightly scripted, but I think they wanted to give Philip the tribute that needed to be said, that he probably would have wanted, and so they went out there and they did it in a very professional manner.
Now, there'll be some people listening to this saying, why on earth are we even talking about this? This is as a TV show. And other people are absolutely gripped by every twist and turn in this soap opera. What do we know about what actually happened at the end of last week, which meant that on Thursday, Holly and Phil were talking about see you next week, and now neither of them are there because Holly's taking a couple of weeks off as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, Holly's off because of to let things cool down a little bit. But, there's been reports over the past few weeks of a sort of growing gap between Holly and Phil. That's due to a number of things. I think, I don't know if you remember, during the funeral, there was a bit of tension over whether they jumped the queue or not. A couple of years ago, Holly left the talent agency that Philip part owned. And there's obviously that issue with Philip Schofield's brother being convicted for crime of abusing young boys. So there's been a number of issues that have kind of been bubbling away under the surface that have got us to this point.
And, I mean, it's still a powerhouse in terms of a show this morning, albeit its figures are down. ITV, given how much they rely on it for advertising things, they'll be wanting to steady the ship.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's an engine room. It starts the day off, and Kevin Ligo, the channel controller's talked about getting audiences in, keeping them throughout the day, and they'll want this. They'll want to start the day strong. They've got a good bench of producers, of potential presenters, and they'll be looking for those guys to step up.
Well, I'll dust off my CV and see if they want me.
I'll come in here, Matt.
Perfect. Yeah, you're back, Phil. Lovely. Good to see you, Alex. Alex Farber there, the Times' media correspondent. Obviously, there's more online on all of that.